Yes, you did. Made it weird.
What's happening, weirdos? This is the incredible, brilliant, fun, funny, warm, interesting, comedy loving, science explaining, universe explaining Neil deGrasse Tyson. This is a mind-blowing conversation. He was eloquent, interesting on everything, blew my mind 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 times, made me question things, made me look at things differently, got me excited about the cosmos, got me thinking about food differently. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. I'm just so excited that you're here and that you're going to listen. In fact, here's a little taste of where our conversation goes.
So when I tell people about the universe, there's all kinds of stuff I'm not telling you because it's boring as shit. Okay. So I pre-edit it. That's all.
I'm excited for you guys to hear the whole episode. Only a couple things to plug up top. One, obviously, is Neil's book. Neil, my dear friend Neil, Mr. deGrasse Tyson. However I can most honorably discuss him. Starry Messenger, Cosmic Perspectives on Civilization. That's what it's called, by Neil deGrasse Tyson. That must be the most honorable way. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Starry Messenger, Cosmic Perspectives on Civilization is available now. If you'd like to see me do standing up comedy, I'm currently on tour. Go to PeteHolmes.com. Or if you're going to be in Los Angeles, go to Largo-LA.com. I do a monthly show there. Great. But PeteHolmes.com, I'm going all over the country. Hopefully you can come to one of those shows. Thank you to everybody that came out in Houston. It was incredible. And if you want to support this show, why not try a Pete's Pick? Pete's Pick are ads for things that I actually use and actually love, like the perfect jean. As you know, I hate hard pants. I don't know why. It's the 21st century and we're not wearing comfortable soft pants that actually look good. We'll enter the perfect jean. They look great. They feel incredible. They're stylish enough to wear to premieres and fancy Hollywood parties, but they're also comfortable enough to take a nap in. That's just facts. I got tired of wearing yoga pants in public. I can't pull it off because I'm not Sting or Phil Collins, but I don't like trapping my body like it owes me money. These are for real, the best looking pants and the best feeling pants I've ever owned. I have 5 or 6 pair. I have them in gray. I have them in dark blue. I have them in blue. I love these pants. I never, ever take them off. They're 2% spandex, 2.5% rayon, but nobody needs to know. Nobody will know. They just look and feel incredible. They're super soft, super durable. I've never had to replace them. Regular jeans always tear in the crotch and wear down, and they're not khakis. Fuck your khakis and spare your nuts. Liberate your lower limbs with the one and only Perfect Jean. Take a peek at www.theperfectgene.nyc. That's Jean. I know this is a science episode. It's not gene like genome. www.theperfectgene.nyc and use code WEIRDO for 25% off. That means you can get a pair for just $60. Show support for your body. Show support for the show. Theperfectgene.nyc and use code WEIRDO at checkout. All right, everybody, let's get in to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Hey, dude.
What's up, man? What a pleasure. Don't change your icon. I just want to talk to the cosmos.
Actually, I became spirit energy in the last hour.
I knew it. You've
There's
always
the
been
dust.
a hiccup away. Yeah, it's got to feel great, right?
No, here I go. Here, let me get this. There it goes.
Oh, there you are. I'm going to say it. That's better. That's
okay,
better.
Or I mean, no, because we can do.
A blend.
UST.
A blend. What is it? There's a Chinese art called Li. Have you heard of Li?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I think you're going to love it. I'm opening. First of all, what a pleasure. I'm honored to meet you and thank you for taking the time.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it's just huge from way back. I think you guys hold the soul of civilization in the palm of your hand.
Whoa.
and you reveal it to us. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, sometimes it's enlightening, but somebody has to do it, and no one else can do it.
I
And
love
you
that.
guys are some of the smartest people because you have to know everything and then figure out how to make it funny. You have to know it deeper than everybody else does, right? So
I love that. And you know why I can agree is because taking myself out of it, that's where I go to comedy for that. I get served by comedy for that same thing. You know what I mean? You must love that. Like other scientists, other astrophysicists minister to you. You know, you can appreciate it and go like, this is great. So that's how I'll agree
and plus
with you.
personally I think the universe is hilarious. But other than that,
Dude, it is. I'm going to tell you something. Okay, I wrote down Lee because I do want to tell you what Lee is. But the example I've been using lately is I was dropping my daughter's 4, and we're rocked, by the way. If I seem a little off, it's just she was up all night. She's got a cough. It's rough. But
no one knows absence of sleep better than new parents.
That's it.
There is no, oh, I studied hard in school and I pulled all-nighters.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
You don't know. You don't know. It was still you deciding when to break and when, you know what I mean? Like my rhythms are completely disrupted by this. And the noise that she makes, as you know, as a parent, is hardwired to me. Like it's the sound that my cortisol, my stress just goes. It's what it's supposed to do.
Pierces the din of all other noises of life, and it lands right in your.
That's right. And I must respond. I go into like, I wouldn't say it's like absolute panic, but I can't, not that I would, but I can't ignore it even if I wanted to. Even if I was like, her mom's got it, she'll do this one, I'll do it. But we've been up all night. It's been
Just
nuts.
think about it evolutionarily. If when they were in distress,
yes,
they had a soft, soothing voice, no one would hear it, and they would just die and
Gone.
take that gene pool with them.
Gone. Goodbye. All the quiet lineages have been removed.
They've been culled from the herd.
Okay. You've already stepped into premise that I go, cool is quiet. Think of Denzel Washington, right? That's always my go-to example of cool. He's quiet. He's like, that's you. That's you. He's very quiet. And then think of uncool. It's like, hey, you guys. It's like a dork in suspense. It's Urkel. It's Urkel being like, oh, got any cheese?
A young Urkel. Yeah, old Urkel. He's like a regular
not
guy.
Jaleel White. Not Jaleel. Jaleel's had a nice reconnaissance. He's
right. He's driving a Porsche. You know, he's got.
He became Stephon Urkel in real life. He's doing it. He's doing great. But I was thinking about evolutionarily, quiet doesn't give away your position to predators. It doesn't. It also people competing for your food source. Wolves are quiet. Wolves are cool.
Stealthy.
Stealth is cool. And like, think of an awkward boy at a dance. He's like, "Hey, ladies," you know, like that is. It speaks to like
that was very Jerry Lewis of you right there. Hey, lady.
Oh, nice lady. That, and think of a cool guy. He's swamp. This is why.
Wait, so the real question is, wait. So the question is,
yes,
how long can you stay with an annoying voice, protected by your parents?
Yes,
until you get eaten by the lion.
Right. Yes, that's right. That's the classic Millhouse. My mom thinks I'm cool. It's like, yeah, they're here keeping you alive.
Yeah.
You need to be cool outside of them. Like that. This is the argument for co-sleep, by the way. Again, we have a 4-year-old, so we've been just sleeping, letting her sleep in our bed. I read this book. It's called Tribe. It's a great book. And he kind of very subtly makes the argument that a baby, like genetically speaking, knows it's vulnerable. When it's alone and in the dark, it's like, you can't be like, we live in a house, you are in part of the house. It's just like, I'm in the dark and I can't touch the giants that I summon to get me food and protection. So he kind of, without being too preachy about it, I know that's a personal choice for parents, it made it really make sense. I was like, if the baby wants in our bed, she can be in our bed. I don't care, even if I don't sleep.
And not to sound like old Father Time here, but when she gets bigger, of course, there's less room for you.
Yes.
And you'll get systematically more and more annoyed by it. However, you have to think differently about it. There will be a day that's the last day she ever climbs into bed.
That's right.
That will go unheralded.
Yep.
You will not even remember that day. In the same way,
yes,
if it hasn't already happened, you're young enough, so it probably hasn't happened yet. There's a day, it's the last day you will ever pick up your child.
Yeah.
And no one will announce that.
I know.
No one will say, here's the day. No, it just
happened. It's just another time you picked her up, and God help you if you were like, ugh, and like that was the last one, and you didn't even enjoy it.
The last one, and you didn't even know to enjoy it.
You
So there are a
didn't
lot
even
of
know.
little things. I don't mean to sound like father,
No,
old timer parent here, but yeah,
this
these
is
are
it.
these are
We think
little
about.
things.
I take comfort in the
Wait,
fact
did we
that
begin your podcast? Did
yeah,
we
we've
begin?
begun. We're recording if that's okay. It's not.
We-
It's cool. It's stealth.
It's
I can't be like, welcome to the show, you guys. It's like oh yeah, we're just talking. We're just two guys talking. It's fun. Let me tell you. First of all, I was going to say I still pick my wife up, so I'm confident as a bigger guy. I will always be able to pick up my daughter. I think. There's a couple.
No. You don't understand how. No. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to explain. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. All right. You are a parent. Your daughter is 4 years old.
Yeah.
Every year that goes by, she gets older and bigger, and you get older and weaker. So
I'm not factoring in my weakness.
you
My
got to
weakness
fact. That's the
increasing.
whole point.
That's what
of
it
this.
is.
It's
Yes.
no okay,
You-
and there's a point where those two lines cross
Yes.
on the chart. And
That's
where
what
they
it is.
cross,
Yes.
she's too heavy to pick up. You're too weak to pick her up.
Yeah, you can say
Boom.
feeble. I
That's
felt you want.
It ends. Bada bing. Don't say I
That-
can still pick up my wife. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not going to go too long either.
That's right. That's right. What is the scientific term for that? I had a confirmation bias or just a blind spot. It was just
It's a blind spot. It was a bias.
Yeah.
It was definitely a bias.
And
you have to
it was a
consider
bias
all
because
factors.
it served my ego. It flattered me. Does that make it more of a personal bias? Would you call it a personal bias?
It's an ego bias.
An
Yeah.
ego bias. An ego-based bias.
Yeah.
Okay. Going back to my daughter, she's 4. This is to your point about comedians. We drop and about how the universe is hilarious and about how the universe doesn't really care about us, which I think is very, very funny. Seinfeld had a bit about how the ocean just wants to throw us out of it. And that's like the joke is like, we keep trying to get back in and it's just, all it does is heave us out of it.
And
That's
even
all
if you go in the ocean and die, it still sends you back to the shore
you're not
as a
staying.
corpse.
Yeah. Nice try. Nice try. You're still getting ejected. This is a human free zone.
Mhm.
So people on the pod have already heard me tell this story probably 3 times, but I drop my daughter off. She's a little shy. I go in the circle with her and I sit and they're singing a song about monkeys falling in the water and an alligator eating the monkeys. Basically, it's like a learning how to count song.
What?
Yeah, I know.
This is the morning song on the carpet.
A lot of
the
these
preschool?
kids, a lot of these kids' songs are very Bambi's mom. They're
Well,
very
maybe
deaf.
they're more real, like the European folk tales. I mean,
Fairy
nursery
tales.
rhymes before they got Disneyfied. Right.
That's
They're
right.
all terrible.
Oh my
things.
God. You read like an old German fairy tale, they all
about
end
it.
with kids in a pie. It's all
Yeah. They get eaten. Yeah, Hansel and Gretel are dead and eaten.
the
right?
moral is you're gonna be a pie. That was
Little
the
Red
only
Riding
moral.
Hood was eaten. All right. Goldilocks was eaten.
Little Red Riding Hood was eaten by a wolf that already ate her grandmother. So even if she got away, Granny's still dead. And we have a cross. Can you say a gender bending? I don't know. A wolf in Granny's clothing.
Yes.
That's species
A
bending.
wolf
as well.
transvestite. Although that word
Yeah.
is not as common today.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to keep us in the clear. You know what we're saying. Everyone knows the intent of what we're saying.
Right.
Here's the point.
A cross-dressing wolf.
There you. I'm not even in. I don't read the updates, but the song
It's a daily update. You have to get with it.
Well, it's by the minute. Yeah, it might be by the minute. We'll set a new standard. We're saying it's okay for this conversation. The song is something like 10 little monkeys swinging in a tree saying, "Hey, alligator, you can't catch me." Then they fall. And all you say to signify the death is you go, "Snap, 9 little monkeys," right? So you don't say anything.
What happened with the monkeys just rolling out of bed? That was a counting song.
That was another one. That's
10
better.
little monkeys, right? What, and one said, roll over. And
That's different. They all rolled. That's bears.
all
in the
rolled
bed.
over and one fell out and faded into bed. And the little one said, roll over.
Yes.
That's just falling out of bed.
Well,
Not
the
getting
monkeys one is,
I have alligator.
and then the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. The
Jumping
bears are
on-
laying in the bed.
Yep.
Monkeys are jumping on the bed.
right.
Alligators are eating the monkeys that are falling out of the tree. So this is definitely the German fairy tale version of the other two.
Okay.
So at the end of the song, it goes, no more monkeys in the tree. One of the kids goes, what happened to the monkeys? Another kid goes, they swam away. Another kid goes, they ran away. And then Dean, this little boy who I love, he's one of Leela's friends, goes, they died.
That's right.
And the teacher's like, oh, and then Dean goes, blood in the water.
Oh,
He yells out blood in the water. Tell me what that means. Isn't that comedy? Isn't that kind of one of the roles of comedy is to go like
checking out his timing there and
well, it's also, you were saying that we go to comedians to like get what we don't get other places. And I see in the world a lot of like the monkeys ran away. And sometimes I go to comedy to be like, no, this is crazy. We're vulnerable tulips in a field. We're in space.
ready to be trammeled. Right.
Exactly. We don't know what's going on. Is that what you meant when you said that?
Well, no, I meant, but I more specifically, monkey blood in the water. That's sort of a perceptive, a morbidly comedic observation of a preschooler. But what I would say is, comedians have the power. It's a superpower, really, to observe what I take for granted and show it back to me in a way I can laugh at it. So, so of course you can do other things as well, but I think that's the most enduring and endearing form of comedy, because now I'm a participant with you. It's not just your story. I'll tell you what happened. I was on an airplane going to no, here's something that happens to all of us.
I agree.
Okay. I'll give an example. I was listening to our fellow who's always safe for work on the channel, Jim Gaffigan. Okay.
Yeah.
So not a curse word ever comes out of him, but he makes an observation, right? And I just never thought of it. It was, we eat so much. I'm paraphrasing here, but I'll get the punchline. We eat so much in America, and just think about it. We have fast food restaurants, and in one of them, you order fried chicken, and it comes in a bucket. You're eating food out of a bucket, and I thought, damn, you're right. How come I never thought about that?
That's right. It's served to you in a bucket.
In a bucket,
because that's what we are.
Not on a platter.
Yeah,
not in a little tasty cup.
Yeah,
no.
we're a few generations away from the wheelbarrow of fried chicken. It's going to happen. It's absolutely. He also has.
That's an observation that hits all of us.
Yes,
it was simple and safe for the workplace, and
right there, it was right in front of our face.
Right,
and don't let me force this, but I feel that science serves a similar function. One of the frustrations of my life, it's not really a big frustration, is that we're not talking about what's going on. Like I used to have a joke. It never really worked, but I talked about how space is boring to most people because you can't eat it or have sex with it. And the punch, you're welcome.
People didn't laugh. I'm laughing.
I mean, if I was performing for you and your peers, maybe, because then I think NASA made the rumor that the moon is made of cheese to like pique interest. It was it was to get funding because people are like, we're going to the moon. Who cares? It's made of cheese. Godspeed. That was the joke. Like, bring crackers, bring back some brie.
Okay.
But like, does that, I mean, you were 15 when you started giving lectures on astronomy.
My first lecture was at 15. Yeah, I just turned 15. Yeah.
Were you in that same place of like, why aren't we talking about that? That's how I feel about chicken buckets. That's how I feel about everything. Like, what
I did was, excellent question and perceptive. So I made it a life's quest to judge what about the universe would be more interesting to you. What parts of the universe are more interesting to you than other parts? I don't mean literal parts, but what ideas, what concepts, what objects, what words, what things. As a comedian, some words are funnier than others just because of how they're pronounced or how they're spelled, what letters they're comprise them. So I've done this sifting throughout my life. And what my colleagues, on the other hand, have been doing is, what is the full curriculum we want to teach you so that you learn what you need to in astrophysics? And instead, when I was outside of the pure academic environment, I said, what can I tell you that you will never forget? That you remember forever and will spark an interest so that you'll then become a lifelong learner. So I viewed myself as someone who can light a flame within you rather than to teach you an entire recipe. And you know where I got this from? Very simple. I got it from Father Guido Sarducci. Okay.
Father,
remember
Guido
this comedian?
Sarducci. No.
You're a comedian. You know Father Guido Sarducci? Okay, you're gonna have
Sounds
to
like
edit
an
this out
alias.
so you don't say who's Guido Tranucci. Okay, edit that out because I want to
Because
protect
it's
your
embarrassing.
reputation.
Yeah, I
Okay.
understand.
Okay, so his shtick was he was dressed as a Catholic priest, which I thought got old very quickly because I don't like too much shtick in a
Yeah.
comedy routine.
Sure.
But what has lasted with me ever since I saw it, it was a routine, and it used to show up on Saturday Night Live in the 70s. All right. So here's the routine. He said, and he speaks with an Italian accent like he just walked out of the Vatican. All right. And he's smoking. Okay. And so he says, I want to start a new university. It's, oh, what kind of university? This is a straight man. What kind of, oh, it's a 5-minute degree. What do you mean a 5 minute? So you just go to university for 5 minutes and you get your degree. How does that work? What do you, no. I only teach you what you remember 10 years later.
Oh my God.
Okay. So he says, so economics. Okay, so what's your economic class? Supply and demand. Wait. Buy it, sell it for more. That's all you need to know.
Wow.
That's all you'll remember 10 years later.
Yes.
Okay. And then he said, well, how about Spanish class? So here it is. So he said, ¿Cómo está usted? Muy bien, gracias. That's all. So this was very deep to me because I thought to myself, why am I teaching you all this detail? Because I spent years teaching university. Why am I spending this time? You're not going to remember it a week after the final exam, much less a year, 5 years, 10 years. Right. So why don't I shape the content to be the most mind-blowing stuff that you will remember 10 years later, and the total amount you'll remember will then be more.
Yeah.
So that's my explanation.
I love that.
For
I've heard
what I do. So when I tell people about the universe, there's all kinds of stuff I'm not telling you because it's boring as shit. Okay. So I pre-edit it. That's all.
Yes.
So
it's interesting. I wonder if the comparison could be like you get people interested in, I'm not putting down Taylor Swift, but pop music, stuff that like it has hooks. We get it.
If you started your paragraph by saying, I'm not putting down Taylor Smith, you're putting down Taylor Smith.
Yeah. It seems like that. It sure seems that way. But I could have picked anybody. Billie Eilish. You're taking what I mean is pop music is doing the same thing. We take all of the complexity of music as a category and we're saying, what pop means popular, which I think is so funny. We're going to release some popular music. I mean, it's like trying to make a viral video. But if you get people interested in music, maybe later they'll listen to Beethoven's Sixth or whatever.
I don't know that that's their motive because it is my motive.
It's
just
your
to
motive.
Get you interested in the field so that you'll buy books, you'll watch videos, documentaries, go to people's YouTube science channels so that I've sparked an interest. I don't know that pop stars are saying, let me make a popist music so that you'll then go buy Beethoven. I don't think that's what's motivating.
But it might happen. It might be a happy accident. It's a happy.
It could happen, yes.
Yeah.
Totally
I've heard the argument that university is to teach you how to learn, not what you learn.
Ideally, it should be. If a good education is how to learn, so that not to get all commencement address on you. I have to give one in a few weeks. But
let's do a rough draft.
Rough draft.
You can have my moon made of cheese. You can't eat it or have sex with it. That's your opener.
Can I do that? Yeah.
Of course. I flatter myself. You'll have something better. Don't worry.
So, of course, the word commencement means beginning, not end. And people see it. Oh, my school's over. And I joke about this. Alice Cooper's one of his famous anthems was, I forgot the title of the song, but the refrain is "School's out for the summer."
Yeah.
School's out forever.
Yeah.
This is an anthem that celebrates that you no longer have to learn.
Yeah.
Just pause and reflect on that for a moment. Your only job for 5 hours a day, is that right? Yeah, was to learn. And now you cast your papers in the air as you run down the steps celebrating this. And I say to myself,
that burden has been relieved. Yes.
You'll spend so many more years not in school than in school, that if you view learning as a chore, then you become ossified in that moment, thinking that all that you have learned is all you need to know for the rest of your life. And then you become somebody who can't relate to new ideas,
Right.
new thoughts, new
Right.
discoveries.
And we'll never know the intoxication. I mean, you've talked about spiritual encounters with the universe. These are intellectual things that have touched you, that stir you. But now we're both Father Time. I figured out most of the learning I've done happened after school because I figured out, oh my God, I'm going to give you my analogy. I want to see if you relate to this. I was like, it's shoplifting. It's thrilling. You go into someone else's, I go into Neil deGrasse Tyson's masterclass or the series that you do. I can steal the facts that you sweated over. And
I like that. It's shoplifting.
It's shoplifting.
While nobody's looking, right?
And nobody's looking. And you know, when I was single, I would be like, it would help you meet people. You'd be more interesting. Like their sweat is your gain. Like you'd go out and be like, I don't know if you know this, but Europa is expanding and contracting like a racquetball, and there might be an ocean of water. And everyone's like,
that's very good.
I did nothing but listen. All I did was listen.
Very good.
Yeah,
very good. And the analogy work with the racquetball, that was good.
That
what
was
you
yours?
got wrong is that it's not that it's expanding and contracting.
Oh, it's not. Excuse me.
It's deforming its shape and then reshaping.
Oh,
it's deforming.
What?
So you get B+. I'll give you B+. Remember?
No. Okay. I had a Europa question for you.
But the analogy to the racquetball is correct. The racquetball is not expanding and contracting. It's getting deformed every time you hit it, and it bounces back to shape. That pumps energy. Expansion
and contraction be different from deformity in what?
Expansion, you take the whole sphere and expand it.
I see.
Contract it.
This is Photoshop.
It's become misshapen.
Yes.
And then it restores its shape.
We're Command T. We're doing a free transform instead
of an expand. That's what that is. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Photoshopped for the win. Would you eat a fish from the oceans of Europa? We found one. We brought it back to Earth. Would you eat it?
Well, so here's a really crazy thought.
Please.
Okay. I'm going to answer this way more deeply than you imagined. Okay.
This is called a day off for a podcast host. Please. I love this.
All right. You ready? I don't know if you're ready. Are you seated? Yes, you are.
I am seated. Yes.
Okay. For those who are listening, I see him on video. He's seated.
I am seated.
So it turns out that the organic molecules that comprise life, okay, have a certain handedness to them. So you might have remembered this from chemistry. There's something called the chirality of a molecule. So you can have molecules like water, H2O. If you look at the water molecule in a mirror, it's exactly what it looks like in real life. Okay.
Okay.
But there's some molecules in a mirror are not the same molecule. It's not that the atoms are swapped. It's just that in your life, it twists a certain way. And in the mirror, it twists the other way.
No.
So if you write down the molecule, the molecular form is the same, but if you construct the molecule, it's different in a mirror than in real life. You say, well, who cares? I'll tell you why. There's a molecule. I don't know what the whole molecule is called, but the molecule that gives you the flavor of mint.
I believe that's tridentia.
It's isomer. That's a word. An isomer. It's the same molecular formula, but different in a mirror. It's an isomer of the molecule that gives you the flavor of caraway.
What?
Yes. Okay. So you take this molecule, reassemble it, twisting the other way, and it intersects your taste buds in a different configuration, giving you the flavor of caraway instead of mint. I think spearmint. Okay.
Wow.
It could be peppermint, one of the two mints.
One of the mints.
So they're different. So now here's my point. That's just the lead in to what I'm telling you.
Yes.
Okay. There's now I'll give you a mid one. This you could probably tap this for some serious jokes. PepsiCo developed an oil that had a chirality that your digestive tract does not see or digest because it does not intersect with the molecule.
Because of the handedness. It can't bond with it. Yeah.
Yet the texture still felt like you were having oil. So rather than baked chips, potato chips, because no one likes those, really.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day,
it's a concession.
It's a correct.
Yeah. Not a concession, a concession.
They would fry them in this oil that you could not digest.
Right.
So you get the sensation of the oil, but then if you read the warnings on the back of the package, it's may cause anal leakage.
I remember this. This is olestra, right?
Olestra, you remember?
Yeah.
So the anal leakage oil,
yeah. That
because it just goes through you. It's no,
Ray,
your body says, I don't know what this is.
Yes.
I can't interact with it. Okay, so now here's my point.
I have to interrupt. You're going to love it. Ray Romano had a bit about this. It's on his Live at Carnegie Hall record. It's his closer. He goes, that's the only anal leakage. That's the only label that the cigarette company is like, we're not that. At least nobody's leaking over here. Sorry. Now hit your point. I'm so sorry.
I know that concert. It's fun. I like at the beginning where he says, hey, look, I'm at Carnegie Hall. He says, the teachers who complained about him making jokes in class.
Yes. And he said, I wanted to invite every woman that ever turned me down, but we would have had to put in a second balcony, which is just a great, he's so funny. I love that.
By the way, I am in a movie with him.
No way.
Wait.
Coming out or you already happened?
Wait, and I'll tell you about it in a minute. Let me finish
finish your point.
You asked me a fish on Europa.
I want it. Fish on Europa.
So it turns out all life on Earth, the amino acids that make up our proteins have the same handedness.
Yes.
All life on Earth. That's part of why we know we're one genesis, because there's nothing in principle that would have prevented an entire other genesis of life coexisting with us that has a different handedness.
That's interesting, because the theory that mushrooms came from an asteroid or something, have you ever heard that? That there's something otherworldly, unique about mushrooms?
No, that's not. I don't know where you heard that.
I love the way you said that.
Mushrooms fit on our tree of life just fine.
They do. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
all right.
yes. Okay.
These are the rumors we're hearing outside of class.
Okay.
This is
not only do you want to be a lifelong learner, you want to be a lifelong learner of the right stuff.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, look, you just corrected it. I've been going around thinking that mushrooms were like
we good with mushrooms. Okay. We good. So last I checked, we're good. There's some adjustment. Maybe I missed it. Okay.
Please keep going.
So here's the point.
Yes.
Other than salt and two other foods, milk and honey, which is very biblical, by the way.
Yeah.
Salt, milk, and honey, everything we consume for calories and otherwise nourishment was once alive. Every human being lives off the death of some other life form from the tree of life. Okay?
That's right.
The only exceptions are milk and honey, which don't require killing.
That's insane. I never put that together, that Moses is trying to go to the promised land, the land of milk and honey. These would be the foods that are non-dual. They're not living, eating, death.
Yeah, I don't know how much the Bible thought about that in advance of writing it, but it is these two foods. What's interesting, of course, is veganism expressly excludes milk and honey.
That's right.
From their diet.
Interesting.
Even though they're perfectly happy, because I say in my book, I have a whole chapter on vegetarianism and meatarians and vegetarians.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about that in just a minute. But
I'll write it down.
Europa fish. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're 3 deep in the thing. I'm not going to remember how to dig this up.
Welcome to the show.
Okay. So, but my only point is, because we have to eat other living things for our sustenance, if the fish is a full life form but has the opposite chirality of life on Earth, I can eat it and gain no nourishment from it.
Wow. It's olestra.
Yeah, it's olestra in a fully formed life form.
So you're saying if you eat a fish from the moon Europa, you're going to get anal leakage on this planet. Like most likely. Unless
pull out the entire
it just comes out fine.
Pull out the bones.
It swam through you. It went through the ocean of Nil.
Exactly.
Wow.
So the interesting thing, maybe we did have two genesises of life on Earth, and they tried to eat each other, but one sort of won out a little bit. It ate more of itself than of the other. And then one we can speculate here, but it's a fascinating fact.
The first two things eating each other. I mean, that's
if you eat only your own chirality, you will survive. If you eat the other chirality, you have no nourishment from it and you'll die.
So it had to have eaten itself.
Yeah, it's its own side of the molecule.
You just dropped that like it was a red Skittle, and it was like the most a lot to unpack in that.
Yeah, I told you a lot.
Yeah.
I told you it was more. The answer was deeper than you probably were bargaining.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
I really love that. Okay.
So now here's my point about so in the vegetarian and meat eater chapter, I just show what it looks like to a scientist. That's all. Yep. I don't hand people opinions. You have your own opinion. But if you have an opinion, how deeply have you thought it through?
That's right.
Okay. So
very comedic, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh, there you go.
That's the comic principle. Yeah.
So for example, let's say you're a vegetarian because you don't want to kill animals.
Yeah.
Right? No one's going to fight you on that. Okay. You don't want to kill animals. You might even have a humane mousetrap in your basement. Now you have to check on it every few days because they dry out quickly once you capture them. But if you find one, what do you then do with it? You tell me.
You release it
back into the wild,
where it will be murdered,
where it will be eaten.
Yeah,
by owls, hawks, foxes. You have doomed it to a life. It's a tasty snack.
Yes,
for all manner of woodland predators, and its life expectancy in the wild is between 9 and 18 months.
I just released a spider. This morning I just released a spider. That's for me. That's for me to feel better about myself. It's
you're going to have to. That's what I'm saying. So now watch.
Yeah.
The best thing you could have done with a mouse was leave it in your basement in the warmth and comfort. It would live years. A mouse in captivity can live up to 6 years. So don't tell me you're doing the mouse a favor.
Oh, buddy, we just had this conversation. Don't tell me when you shame an obese person that you care about their health. You would be out there telling people not to ride motorcycles, not to skydive, not to whatever.
This is the example of a rational lens brought to people's attitudes and comments. That is exactly what the book is about.
That's it.
It's cosmic perspectives on civilization. That is what that is.
Wow. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, let me keep going. It's worse.
Please,
it's worse. You ready?
It's worse.
Okay. So you've saved them, save this mouse. You believe you saved the mouse. Meanwhile, you are living, you don't want to kill animals, but you'll kill plants, okay, because you're vegetarian.
Even though, go on.
Okay, so now watch, but it's fine. You've made this distinction. So you live in a home probably made of wood. Now you calculate how much wood, about the wood of 50 trees that might have lived 100 years, but you cut them down early when they're 10 years, 20 years, 30. All right. So you cut them down early. Each tree was making oxygen enough every day that was equal to 15 times the mass of your chubby little mouse every day. Vital oxygen for all oxygen breathing creatures. Plus the tree serves as a home for birds, squirrels, insects, mushrooms, all manner of things.
Yes.
And it would have lived 100 years. So I ask you, who does nature care more about? Your chubby 1 ounce mouse or the 20-ton tree times 50 that was cut down to make your home? And so my point here is, I want you to be self-aware of your species bigotry in the tree of life by saying, I want to protect animals, but I will eat any plant I choose and cut down any plant to build my domicile.
As if they aren't part of the tapestry of life.
I love the poetry of your sentence. They're part of threads in the tapestry of life.
But the interconnectedness, it's operating.
And not only that, last point.
Hit it.
Last point.
Hit it.
Okay. Okay. As a vegetarian, consider what you're doing. Because I like thinking what we look like to aliens. So imagine plant-based aliens coming to visit us. Okay. So they just undergo photosynthesis on their skin. So think about it. Back in their home planet, there are no kitchens, there are no restaurants, there is no food as we know it. They just lay out under their home star and get their nourishments. And on their voyage here, they just sit under the lamps, right? That's how I'm a little hungry. Let me get some light energy. Okay. So they looked in their tourist catalog that Earth has a great biodiversity and want to see their light, their kind, right? There are other plants. So they come to visit Earth and they confront vegetarians. And they find out that vegetarians not only eat them, but specifically target their reproductive organs.
Oh my
With
God.
the nuts, the berries, the seeds, the flowers.
You're going after the nuts.
They're just trying to make new copies of themselves, and you're going in and extracting them and eating them. Not only that, there is a profound infanticide that goes on, because you just go in the produce aisle of Whole Foods, and what do you see? Baby carrots, baby lettuce, baby artichokes, baby spinach.
It's all veal, man. It's all veal. The veggies are all veal.
Baby versions of the plants. So the plant-based aliens would run home and say, "This is the scariest planet I've ever seen."
That is hilarious.
So this is just a cosmic perspective.
Yes.
So do it if you want, but I want you to be aware
Of
that
what
you
you're
don't
doing.
even have a euphemism for the baby versions of the plants.
That's right. I love this, and I wonder if this will blow your mind, or at least be mildly interesting. I had a bit, Neil. And I was like, imagine if aliens land on the planet, and the door to the ship opens and the ramp comes out, just like Spielberg showed us, and they're chickens. I mean, how quickly people are panicking to hide the buckets. Like they're in a superior species when they find out what we've been doing to their kind. Like we're fucked. They're going to kill us.
The chicken is the most slaughtered animal in the world. Do you realize Americans consume 1 million chickens per hour? The country. So it's not just that we eat 1 million chickens per hour. It's that we raise, feed, farm, harvest, bring to market 1 million chickens per hour.
Yeah, I thought you were also going to bring up something a friend brought up on the podcast, which is when you harvest almonds and stuff, those machines are sucking up countless rats, vermin. Like there's a lot of death. What I hear you saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is there's no real way out of we are feasting off of other life.
Except for milk and honey, which is expressly forbidden by vegans. This is what's amazing to me. Okay. The two foods that don't involve killing anybody, and eat that. No, but eat the reproductive organs of the plants.
Wow.
So what happens is,
yes, go ahead.
But I know the philosophy of it, because I know the guy, the philosopher at Princeton, who's largely responsible for the popularization of vegan diet, Peter Singer. All right. So he means well, he's a good guy and he's smart. But my point back to him was, first, you have judged that if the life form has a brain, you would rather preserve it than life forms that don't have brains. So you have made a human-centric observation protecting species that are closer to you in the tree of life. And I would say that another way, just as an astrophysicist. I would say it's not that the oak tree doesn't have a brain. It's that the oak tree doesn't need a brain.
Oh my God.
It doesn't need one. And by the way, if you cut down an oak tree, do the leaves not wither? Like, if not within hours, certainly within a half a day. So that meant there was circulation there.
Yeah.
So if you cloak the tree, does it not wither? If you withdraw its nutrients, does it not die?
This is like the Merchant of Venice. I hear, does it not bleed? It bleeds out. It has a central nervous system.
And so don't tell me it's not as good as you because it doesn't have a brain. It's better than you because it doesn't need a brain, and it will outlive you 3, 4, 5 times to 1. The giant sequoias live 1,000 years. Oh, but I'm going to protect the mouse because it has a brain? Excuse me?
Wow.
All this is in the book. All of this.
You're watching, and think of the people listening. There's like an earthquake happening in my brain. My consciousness is
That's the whole point.
earthquake.
These are the Galileo, he coined the term. His first book was Starry Messenger in Latin. So it was Sidereus Nuncius. He was looking at stuff in the universe that told him different things about what's true than what he was being told by the holy books in his day. And so this was a great conflict. Because his first book, where he reported on his telescopic observations, Earth was not the center of motion, the moon had blemishes, the sun had spots, things were different. Oh my gosh. So I borrowed his title and gave it a fat subtitle, Cosmic Perspectives on Civilization. I'm looking in the universe and coming back to Earth and saying, this is what you look like, we look like here on Earth.
Right.
And so, a tree is not sentient in any way you might care about, but it can live 1,000 years. How long can you live?
Right.
And what happens between an encounter between your automobile and a tree on the side of the road? Who wins that encounter?
Yes. Wow. Yeah, I have another joke that ends where it's like we're going around eating the other animals, and if aliens came, I'm always going to the if aliens came. If aliens came, the argument I make is if we're all just staring at our phones and waiting in line at Spencer's Gift for an apron that looks like we're naked, like they'll have no problem slaughtering us. Like there's like we need to be doing something better, or they'll.
Wait, does Spencer's Gift still exist?
I believe you can find some, like an orange Julius. It's as rare as a Julius. But this idea that
I'm just saying, Spencer Gifts, they were like really all the rage in the 80s and 90s. I don't know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, it was replaced by what is it? Hot Topic. Hot Topic is the new Spencer's Gift.
All right. Yeah. So we have to just watch out for ourselves. So I throw in an alien every now and then to observe what it is, who we are, and what we're doing. And
so did Seinfeld. He said if aliens saw us, in fact, I would say the alien perspective is, again, just looking for those
it's a cosmic perspective.
But it's the comedy perspective and it's the scientific perspective. I think that's one of the things that we have in common.
Gary Larson had an alien come down, and the alien had this hand-looking appendage sticking out in front of it.
Yes.
And it said, unfamiliar with alien anatomy, George just reaches out and grabs
the penis or whatever.
Grabs the extended appendage,
yes,
thinking it was the hand.
Yes, that's the whole thing. I've never considered the bias. We started with my bias that I won't be getting weaker and I'll still be able to pick up my daughter. So we had that ego.
Your wife,
bias. The ego, and my wife, the ego-based bias that things that are like me are better. That which is an insane.
It's species bigotry. Yes,
it's species bigotry. It's species. I remember in
this is like with the dolphins, right?
Yes.
Why do you buy line caught tuna? Because net caught tuna might drag a dolphin, and dolphins are air breathing, and they would be down there and suffocate.
Right.
All right. So, but all right. What about the tuna? You're still killing the tuna.
No, I know.
Right. Oh, the dolphin is a mammal. Oh, so now they got the mammal bigotry here. So or it's mammal preference, but then. You're doing this while you're eating a hamburger, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Which is 1,000 cows, by the way. That's one of my, you quoted something I read in Fast Food Nation, which is 1 million an hour. They also say there's thousands of cows in every hamburger, which I thought was very interesting. I forget what movie
I don't know what that means.
There's ground beef is the reason we have a hard time finding mad cow, for example. The genesis of that is because there's so many cows in ground beef. Like you get a burger at McDonald's.
That's got to be an exaggeration. 1,000. I'll give it that it's a number more than one, but I can't believe that it's 1,000.
Interesting. Well, it's just something I read, but I really read it. Doesn't mean YouTube video. I really read it in a printed book that had an editor.
Well, let me say that differently. I'm not an expert in animal husbandry, so I'm not commenting on expertise. I'm just commenting on slaughterhouses that I've seen, how many cows are in any given spot that they are slaughtering. Okay. And then, they pull out the steaks and you pull out this, get the rest of the cow, and it gets mixed in with the ground beef. I don't know that that's 1,000 cows at any given moment. 1,000 cows is a lot of cows.
But I guess to take it, that plant is mixed with another plant, then it all gets to McDonald's as multiple plants. This is my thesis.
Okay, but I don't know why you would do that. Right? But okay.
Yeah, I don't know either. To make it more difficult to trace mad cow disease because they're actually just trying to kill us. I saw something that was making the argument that there's certain cultures that will kill one animal that we find majestic. Have you thought about this? Like they'll kill like a beautiful whale or something, and people like protest, but they're like, "You're killing all these." It's an extension.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
your
So
argument.
that's the so the point is dolphins are cuter than tuna.
Yeah, that's right. That's
So
right.
at least admit that to yourself. Okay. You know, you
That's
want
right.
to feed the squirrel because it has a bushy tail, but
That's
you don't
right.
want to feed the rat because it's not as cute.
Right.
Right. And they're both rodents. Okay. So
Just get honest. Where, it's interesting, environmentally
and I don't
speaking,
care what you do, just be honest about it. That's all.
and I think what you want to avoid is people claiming some sort of moral cachet that is
Moral high
undeserved.
ground. That's
Yeah.
kind of at the center of a lot of the food bias and the food tribalism that goes
Yeah.
on around us. Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. What about so you've seen you're a meat eating person that had the kind of the stomach pun there to go to a slaughterhouse and watch
No,
how it works?
I've seen documentaries of
Oh, just
slaughterhouses.
documentary.
But,
And
by
that
the way, very
didn't
neutral documentaries. I was in a film class in college, and there was a documentary where they take the cow and cut its throat, and the blood spills out. There's another one where they put the bolt in the
Yeah.
head and it drops, and the guy's just smiling and just talking, smoking a cigarette.
the guy that was doing it, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got the apron, but he's just there. And
Right.
it was a European film, and it was just a documentary about a explorer. It wasn't even judgy or anything. It just
Right.
was. And there's
Does
some people in the class who couldn't watch it. And I said to myself, I eat steak, so I have to force myself to watch this.
Mm.
I don't want to eat steak and not know that this is going on. That would be dishonest.
The marketing of it.
To life, to and everything. So
That disconnect. We have a cultural disconnect from our food and our own deaths. There's a lot of marketing going on.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of you see it at a wake, the way they
at
put
the last
makeup on.
chapter it's called Life and Death.
Yes,
where
tell
I
me.
tackle the subject of death that we are so timid around.
Yes.
Here's something interesting.
Hit
Just to show you how deeply religious we are, even when we're not.
Mm.
Okay. So you go into a funeral home, and usually there's more than one, room. There's only one gathering in any given evening, but it's not the only body around. So you don't walk into the funeral director and say, "Where's Freddie?" Okay. You say, "Where is the body
Where's the
of
body?
Fred?"
Yeah, where's the body?
So you are implicitly agreeing that there is some soul substance
Yes.
that left his body and
Yes.
is now somewhere else. That which was Fred is something else now, and the body is there. She say, "Where is the body of Fred?" Not "Where is Fred?"
Right.
And to me, I'm fascinated by that.
That's
that we-
also comedy. That's a comedy perspective. You would never say, "I'm going to go say hi to Fred." You'd say, "I'm going to pay my respects." You're going to say, like, "I got to see the body."
Right.
You
The body.
wanna see
The
Fred.
body.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
It's got all
Fascinating.
the same molecules. There's nothing missing. It's all there. A little
But
bit of formaldehyde mixed in, or whatever they mixed the
you could say your refrigerator is still your refrigerator when you unplug it, but it's not keeping your food cold, though. It's not doing the thing that made it a refrigerator. Like when I'm dead, I won't be doing the thing that mostly people came to me for, which
right,
was
correct. However, so you are admitting that's the wrong word. You are declaring that there's a spirit essence of your friend that is no longer there. And so you must only then reference its body.
Right.
Now,
And
if that's
that,
the case,
yeah,
this is not in the book, but I'm thinking of it in this moment. If you recognize that, then what do you care what happens to the body? What do you care? Why should there be a monument over the body in the ground if the spirit essence is somewhere else?
That's one of my favorite Simpsons jokes where Maude and Ned Flanders are almost taken away by a tornado. And Maude...
Flanders is the religious Christian, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, Nettie, I was almost taken off to eternal paradise with God. It was terrible." It was just like that is one of those things that we're afraid we don't really believe. So it's a little bit like whistling in the dark. I mean, you're talking to somebody who is deeply spiritual, and we'll get into that. But even I'll catch myself liking those language choices because you're like, there's always going to be a part of you that's like, maybe I'm wrong. So you like it. You want to keep it going.
Well, for you, yeah, that's why.
Not for you. Not for you.
No,
Well,
I'm still looking at evidence for things. I'm very evidence driven. Yeah.
right. Well, you know what's interesting? That's one of my big questions for you is you're looking for evidence with the thing we're looking for, right? I mean, this
Yeah,
isn't
but consider someone who strokes out. Okay.
yes,
They're not there anymore, even though they're fully alive sitting in a wheelchair.
right.
But you're not going to say, where is the body of dad?
You're going to say, where's Nana? Yeah.
Yeah, or Nana. Yeah, you're going to say, where's Nana? Because they're breathing and their heart is beating.
Because
so their spirit energy is no longer there, because we know everything that is you is in your brain, and the neurosynaptic biochemistry going on in your brain. And
right.
so your brain shuts down as the strokes take out sectors of your brain. Now you're basically a vegetable.
Mm.
No one refers to it as the body of who was once there.
But
so we have these. I'm not complaining that we're inconsistent. I'm just observing that we're inconsistent, and that intrigues me as an observer of culture.
Couldn't be more intrigued. I do think it's interesting. It's like, where do you define? So Nana, who's stroked out and is in a wheelchair, there's still there's still the blank, there's a blank piece of paper happening, meaning there's still awareness inside of her. We can't know, but there's something going on, that there's activity. Like she's there.
No, her basal body functions continue because the brain protects those as the last thing to go. But she's not having any thoughts. There's it's not like in a coma where the brain is still active and activated. There's just a disconnect between what's going on outside your sensory system and what's going on inside. So it's not like a coma. When you're brain dead, there's nothing happening. There's no processing of information.
Right. It's more just dead.
Well, except your heart is beating, so you're not going to say the body of. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, that's something I'm going to have to keep thinking about.
Okay, go ahead.
That's
Mr.
a good
spiritual man. Okay,
not right now. Not right now. This episode is brought to us by our friends at LMNT. Element. Healthy hydration isn't just about drinking water. It's about drinking water plus electrolytes. It makes sense. You lose both water and sodium when you sweat, and both need to be replaced to prevent muscle cramps, headaches, and energy dips. But most people only replace the water. Why? Because since the 1940s, people have been telling us to drink 8 glasses of water a day, whether you're thirsty or not. But that's actually a terrible idea. Drinking beyond thirst is a bad idea. It dilutes blood electrolyte levels, especially sodium, which can lead to headache, low energy, cramps, confusion, or worse. And the solution to getting through your workout or just getting through your day with proper hydration to optimize your body and your mind isn't just to drink water, it's to drink water plus electrolytes. So enter Drink LMNT. Element has become a huge part of my personal wellness program and a part of my morning routine that I really look forward to. I always start every day with a huge glass of water and a packet of LMNT. I like their watermelon salt flavor. You just mix it up, super easy, tastes great, and you're good to go. No sugar or artificial junk, just electrolytes and great taste. That provides the ultimate ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium that help with your health, performance, and your energy. It also tastes amazing. And when I'm fasting, which I do intermittent fasting, but I still want to sip something flavorful but not break my fast, it is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful asset. Keeps my fast on track and makes fasting easier. Element has come up with a fantastic offer for weirdos. Just go to drinklmnt.com/weird. Use promo code WEIRD to get a free Element sample pack with any order when you order. If Element doesn't exceed your expectations, they have a no questions asked refund policy. You don't even have to send it back. So support your body, support this show. Go to drinklmnt.com/weird and get your free sample pack with any purchase. That's drinklmnt.com/weird. This episode is also brought to us by our friends at BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and changing. Like before I went to therapy, I personally had no idea what codependency was or how to end a relationship in a healthy way or set up boundaries with family and people I work with. But that's what therapy is all about. Deepening your self-awareness and your understanding, because sometimes we don't know what we want. We don't know why we react the way we do until we talk through things with a professional. BetterHelp connects you with just that professional. They connect you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are, because the more you know about yourself, the more easily you can maneuver through life with less suffering and with more clarity. Relationships, grief, loss, anxiety, you named it. Talk therapy has changed my life. Talking with a professional helps. So if you're interested in starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/weirdo today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/weirdo. And speaking of health, wellness, and rituals, ritual is a huge part of my morning ritual. Time out. If supporting foundational health was a sport, who would you want on your team? Would choose Ritual. They made a multivitamin for men that's based solely on science and designed to help fill common nutrient gaps in the diet with 10 key nutrients. I used to, for real, go to the doctor and they would tell me which vitamins I was deficient in. It was just a normal occurrence. I started taking Ritual, completely turned that around. It's minty. It's got everything that I'm missing. I don't eat a lot of meat. I don't eat a lot of dairy. It's got that B12. It's got that D. It's got all the things that I need to fill in the gaps. Scientifically developed multivitamin with high quality key nutrients in clean, bioavailable forms. Ritual is a new type of 2 a day for helping support heart health with omega-3 DHA, to normal muscle function, to normal immune function with vitamin D3. This small step can have a major impact. And all of the nutrition in it is completely traceable, because where your nutrients come from is just as important as where they're for. And also, it's not, the biggest criticism I hear for vitamins is that you just pee it out. This is a delayed release capsule. It waits until it's in your lower intestine to break down, which means you're actually going to absorb it, which it means it's going to actually make a huge difference in your body. And for me, make you feel ready to start your day. It's vegan friendly, non-GMO, sugar-free, gluten-free, and major allergen-free. Essential for Men is a quality multivitamin from a company you can actually trust. And get this, Ritual is offering our listeners 10% off during your first 3 months. So support your body, support your show. Visit ritual.com/weird to start Ritual, or add Essential for Men to your subscription today. That's ritual.com/weird. All right, everybody, back to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Not right now. Not right now. Let's play my bit. I spoke to someone that's working with you. They maybe said that you've seen this bit, and I want, if you would honor me. I
caught bits. I know others. Oddly, I know many of your other work, but not that one bit.
Oh, okay.
This is your space.
This is my space bit. This is weird to say. I hope you like it. That's my hope. It doesn't really.
I'm not. Don't worry about me. I'm not. No. I will. I will like, as a minimum, I will like your effort.
There it is. That's all I ask. But
I'm a third grade teacher who gives you the star for effort.
And you'll put my hand paste drawing on the fridge like a loving parent, exactly, even if it's completely off. But here's what I want, because I've heard this joke before. I'd like you to call out pause anytime you have a thought. Is that good?
A thought about what?
About what I'm saying. Like, I'm going to say some stuff, some scientific
you want me
stuff.
To interrupt?
I would like you to. You say, Katie is going to play it for us. You say pause, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, because this is my most famous bit, and I'd love to put it. And I'll tell you up top, a lot of it is based on something Bill Nye told me. So I took something he taught me and ran with it. So one of your contemporaries, I suppose we could say, but I'd love to hear the Neil deGrasse.
And Bill Nye, after his engineering degree, began as a comedian.
Is that right?
Comedian. Yes, he was.
I'm sure we covered that.
That's why he has timing. He has certain timings that come from.
I love it. I love it.
But I want to hear the whole thing.
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt you.
Then let's do this.
Is your art.
I'll pause it. I'll pause it when I know we're about to shift topics a little bit.
Okay, got it.
That way you won't feel rude.
As you go to your next chapter. Yes. Okay.
That's right. Yeah, the little footnote.
Okay.
So, Katie, let's play it. And
you can't recreate it here? I got the living man himself. I got to hear a recording of you. Okay.
Honestly, Neil, I couldn't remember the words if you gave me $100,000. It's an old joke. So here we're going to listen to it together. Katie, go ahead.
What I'm saying is enjoy everything. This is all we have. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. I won't make fun of your answers. Does anybody here clap if you believe in an afterlife? Clap if you don't believe in it, but you're open to it. You don't think there's evidence, but you're open to it. Anybody reincarnation? Reincarnation? And who thinks it's just dead over? You just unplug the TV? I think you're all right. I think those are all correct answers. What I think is funny about it, though, is all my friends think it's dead over. They just think you unplug the TV and it's lights out. And they all say the same thing to me. They're just like, Pete, think about it. Afterlife makes no sense. Makes no sense an afterlife. You think an afterlife makes sense? You got to think about that again, because an afterlife makes no sense. I was like, yeah, I agree with you. You know what else makes no sense? Fucking this. Life makes no fucking sense. So I would argue that life sets a precedent for potentially more shit that makes no sense. Does that make sense?
Okay, we can pause there. Let's pause there.
Why not?
I see a lot brewing. Katie, we got to pause.
A quick so the opening quote of my best-selling book
Hit it.
is, "The universe is under no obligation to make sense to you."
Love that.
That's from 2017. That was an astrophysicist. No, it's that one. What's the title of that book? Give me a second. Come to me. Hold on. Oh, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. That's
Okay, love that.
tiny
Great.
little book.
Great
And
title.
so that was my opening quote, just so that when I told you that the universe began in the size smaller than the size of an atom and grew to be as big as it is, don't come back to me and say that makes no sense.
Right.
I'm saying the universe doesn't care that you think it makes sense or not.
What do you make
I'm
of
all with
the
you on that.
of
All
the
good.
hypothesis?
And I love the
that-
accent of your of your friend.
You're really picking up on those little tricks. That's the trick.
I love
to make
I
it
love
funny,
your
yeah.
friends. Your friends. It's like the dude on the street corner, right? That's not the person getting straight A's in your class. That's just some Joe
That's
on the
right.
street corner.
That's right. Every comedian needs a good dumb guy voice, and
Right.
that you just heard mine. What do you make of the idea that if things don't make sense, it kind of stands to reason that there might be more things that don't make sense?
Completely.
Yes.
No argument here.
Love it. Should we keep listening?
Let's go.
All right, Katie, go ahead.
But my friends are all like, nah, man, there's this bullshit that we all woke up in that's confusing, that none of us asked for, and then no more bullshit. It's a one-time bullshit deal. What? Nothing makes fucking sense. Life makes no sense. You're on a planet right now. You think you're in America? Zoom out. You're on a space rock floating in nothingness, infinite nothingness, and the infinite nothingness is expanding. That means endlessness is getting bigger. That makes no fucking sense.
Okay, pause there, Katie.
Okay.
We gotta,
okay.
we gotta put
So
it to Neil.
Let me back
Put it
up.
to
Right,
Neil.
so, I didn't see this on YouTube, but I heard it on a comedy channel.
Okay.
So yes, I'm reconfirmed.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
What I
Where
like
are
about
we?
it,
Go
what I
ahead.
like about it is no one can argue with you. You're being bluntly honest and accurate. When it makes no fucking sense. we're on a planet in the middle of nothingness, and we're getting
Yes.
more nothingness. Right? Keep going. I got no rebuttal. Just
Yes.
let me not stop you. Keep going on that. Yeah.
Yes. Should we keep going?
Yeah. No. So I'm just saying,
Oh,
no way. So typically, if a comedian is mid routine, you're thinking, could they've done something differently or better or funny or whatever, and you just have everyone in the palm of your hands right now because we're thinking about it and say, damn, he's right. Oh fuck, why is he right? I don't want him. He's right. Damn. Okay, that's where that's landing.
okay. Feeling airtight. Go ahead, Katie.
We all just act like it's normal. Like, oh, everything's made of molecules. Okay. Got it. I'll never think about that again.
Pause.
I made a...
Pause. Okay, I got one for you. You ready?
Hit it, please.
Okay. Most people don't know how small molecules are. They have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. So I'm going to tell you.
Tell
okay?
me.
There are more molecules of water in a glass of water than there are glasses of water in all the world's oceans.
Wow.
Which means that after you drink that water and it comes back out of you any number of a half a dozen ways, there's enough molecules that pass through your kidney to populate every single other possible glass of water drawn from the world's water supply.
Wow.
Which means the glass of water you did draw from your faucet contains molecules that definitely pass through the kidneys of Abraham Lincoln, of
Yes.
Jesus,
Yes.
of Genghis Khan, of
Wow.
pick any historical figure,
Wow.
because there are enough molecules to do that. That's how little they are. And the same works for air. There are more molecules of air in a breath of air than there are breaths of air in the entire atmosphere of the earth.
Stop it.
So that when you breathe in and exhale, there are molecules that you inhaled that went through the lungs of Adolf Hitler, of
Wow.
Mother Teresa, and so think about it. What that means for our connectivity.
Yes.
We are a shared organism in a way.
Yes.
With the water and the air, we are participants in the consumption of this life-sustaining blood of the planet called water and air. So that's the backstory to your molecules.
I love that. It's like the parable of what the hell is water? The two fish going, what the hell is water? We act like it's normal, but sometimes I like to think of air being gelatinous, just to help me to visualize just how connected it all is. I think I'm over here, you're over there, but we're connected by the air resting on our skin. And when you talk about the even smaller particles,
and that air moves, wind currents take it, it scatters into the entire atmosphere.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
The bit continues with more stuff I want to hear.
Let's do it.
I'm made of molecules, you're made of molecules, the air between us, it's all made of molecules. That makes no fucking sense. These molecules know they're molecules. These molecules are like, I'm Pete. That doesn't make any sense. This stool is made of molecules, the same molecules in my hand. In fact, some of the molecules in this stool went into me while I've been talking, and some that were me have gone into this stool. And you know, when I knock these molecules into these molecules, when we ask science, why don't they go through each other? You know what the answer is? We don't know.
You got to pause there.
No, we do know, but we'll give you that.
Tell me, because that was Bill Nye. Bill Nye said we don't know.
First, let me start by saying I'm a big fan of Mark Twain's edict. First, get your facts straight, then distort them at your leisure. Okay.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Love.
So you are waist deep in authentically fun science here. So I'm going to give you one where you say they don't know. I'll give you a hall pass on that one.
I got it from Bill. I swear he said the answer.
No.
Why do these molecules repel these molecules when we knock a table?
So the problem is more philosophical than that, because we know why they repel, because there's a force field called electromagnetic fields, and molecules do not pass through one another because electromagnetic forces prevent it. It's an actual force that's empowered by the fact that these particles have charge, plus and minus charge. And so that's the answer. But if you want a deeper answer, why does the field exist as caused by the charge? You can take why all the way down, and there'll be some point I'll just say, shut up. It just works that way.
Yeah. But what about the ones that are leaking out? I saw you nodding. The molecules in my microphone and me are
no, they don't
exchanging.
leak. No, it's just in contact. Anytime two things contact, there are molecules that exchange.
Is that when it is? I pictured it as like gnats, like flying out of me.
Some might evaporate off, like the surface of a liquid or something.
Yeah.
But very solid objects, if you come in contact, okay? So if you take your hand and just rub it across a surface, where you just keep doing it, there's friction and your hand warms up.
Yeah.
Those are molecules trading back and forth. You
Really?
left skin molecules on the table, and the table left wood molecules in your hand. Yes.
Wow.
That's
I
why
wonder.
if you kept at it, you'll rub away the finish. You'll rub away the outer surface of your skin. There's stuff going on there.
Wow.
One swipe, you don't notice it or think about it. But if you kept that up, you'll see the net effect of what you're doing over time.
It's kind of a chicken egg thing, but it's like we love touch. We love hugging.
No. Stop.
Go ahead.
We got the chicken egg solved.
Hey, it was the egg.
Yeah, the egg came first.
You know what I meant, though.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Find another.
Yes, I understand. I
We
hear
got the
you.
chicken egg. Do you know why it was the egg?
Tell me.
The egg was laid by a bird that was not a chicken.
And then it evolved.
Right.
Or
So
that was
there's
part
some
of the evolution.
mutation
Yes.
between the bird that was not a chicken and the egg that it laid. And then they open the egg and that's a chicken and its parent is not a chicken.
Does
Of
the
course,
question go back to that bird then? Like,
So we compress
yeah.
the whole evolutionary thing into this simple exercise of the egg came first because it was laid by a bird that was not a chicken. Okay, so now what's
Wow.
your question?
Oh, no, I think I know your answer. I think everybody might have a guess. The bird that laid it, that was an egg, and it goes all the way back to like single cell organisms, basically.
No, we were just talking about chickens. If you want to know about birds, okay, why did the bird lay, what came first, the bird or the egg? That's a
Yeah.
different question.
Yeah. But chicken
From
or
the chicken
egg,
and the egg.
that one's retired.
A chicken is but we retired the chicken and the egg.
So help me. The question I do have for you, an electromagnetic field is like the outline. If I'm a cartoon, that's like the outline around me, the black line.
It is the volume over which a force will be enacted with the right kind of particle for it to act on. So gravity, the field is everywhere. I let go of something, it drops.
Yes.
That's a gravity field. And mass in a gravity field responds to the force of gravity by falling towards the center of the object. If I had an electric field and I had a neutral object, it is not responsive to the electromagnetic field. It'll just stay there. If I give it a charge, it'll start moving in
Wow.
response to the field. Yeah.
Fascinating. This is a real honor. I'm really
Oh, yeah.
enjoying
No, we
this.
got this.
keep going, Katie. There's only a little more.
That doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm open to anything. If I died, listen to me. If I died and it was just kitty cat Thanksgiving, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Makes about as much sense as the fucking conundrum I was just stuck in. Pass the gravy.
Okay, we can stop there. That's basically the end.
Yeah. So I've actually heard that routine many times.
Oh, wow.
But not on video. So I
Okay.
didn't necessarily connect it to you.
Yeah.
When just hearing it on, so I listen to comedy radio often.
I love that. I love to think of you doing that. Is it? I'm trying to like poke holes in myself.
Oh, by the way,
Go ahead.
a little hat tip to Sam Kinison there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely the funny anger. funny
Doesn't
screaming.
make sense.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
You lose your control, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
you have to emote the next sentence rather than deliver it.
It's
Yeah.
huge. That
Mhm.
joke on paper isn't really a joke.
Right.
It's all attitude. It's all
Mhm.
it's demonstrating my frustration. Absolutely, for sure. So I wonder, this is my own attempt at poking a hole in myself. Is it dangerous to say, because this doesn't make sense? Is it like circular logic or something? I'm saying this doesn't make sense, so therefore anything could happen. Is that dangerous?
No. Just because you don't understand what's happening doesn't mean what's happening isn't completely following rules that we've established for it.
Right.
Right?
So go on.
So I mean, there's plenty of stuff that's just kind of, why is that happening? But it's going to happen exactly the way we describe. And quantum physics is a lot of that. You've heard of bits on a computer? So
Sure.
a bit is either a 0 or a 1. It's
Mhm.
literally binary. All right.
Mhm.
But a quantum computer doesn't use bits, it uses qubits. A Q, letter Q, bit. Some people say QU bit, but I'd like just the Q.
Sure.
Qubit. All right. And what is a qubit? It can be a 0 or a 1, or any combination of the two at any given time. 90% 1, 10% 0, 90% 0, 10, 50-50.
Mm.
The qubit is a statistical combination of the two. You say, that doesn't make any sense. It does to quantum physics. And we predict it, and we know exactly what's going to do and when it's going to happen, and we can exploit that with computer circuitry.
Right.
But why does that happen? I have no idea. But it
Right.
is.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is I'm tying this things don't make sense to the afterlife, meaning you, Neil deGrasse Tyson, die. And it's like the old Steve Martin joke. You see the pearly gates. His bit was like, he'd be like, oh, no. How, like all that. They told us all this was bullshit in college. I'm just saying what I'm trying. I guess.
Wait,
this
you know
joke,
what? Wait, Richard Dawkins replied to that. You know,
to that
Richard
Steve
Dawkins,
Martin joke?
No, well, to in that same scenario.
Oh, okay.
Because they ask him, he's a ardent atheist. They ask him,
Yes.
what happens when you die and you at the pearly gates and you meet God? What are you going to say to God?
Yes.
And he'll say, why did you work so hard to not be detectable by any means than anybody? what diabolical, plan?
Like, why the cat and mouse? Why the hide and seek?
Yeah.
No, I used to think that all the time when I was a much more straight-laced theist. I was like, why doesn't God just one time open up the clouds and go, hello,
I'm here. Now shut the fuck up and get back to work and know that I'm looking at you. Right. That'd be really easy.
To that, I would say, I feel like you and I are both branches off a tree trunk called awareness, right? I don't mean to get too new agey, but like there's a phenomenon of consciousness happening.
To get new agey there. That is like
the most new agey thing.
Scary new agey right there. Okay.
But you and I are aware, right?
Mm-hmm.
Help me out. I feel like the difference between
you like any good comedian notices stuff.
Being aware.
I see them as the same thing. If you don't notice stuff, you got nothing to joke about.
I completely agree. But the number one thing that most people don't stop and notice is that there is something that is I'm not saying it's God. I'm saying there is a awareness. There is something that is aware of your experience, whether you're dreaming, whether you're hiking. Because how do I know? Because you are in my awareness. Something is hearing.
Oh, I'm aware of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're out in the wilderness, what do you mean?
Well, I'm aware of the wilderness.
But is the wilderness aware of you?
That's an interesting question.
If you're floating in space, I thought you were saying that people don't notice that you are noticed by some entity. And that's what I'm asking.
I'm saying when you sing happy birthday in your head right now, what is hearing that? When you hear a voice in your head, what is
so you're just so then you're being Descartesian on us, and you're saying I think, therefore I am.
I am because I think. I would reverse it.
Okay, sure,
go
for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you that's I think that's the most overlooked thing. The most overlooked phenomenon is what I would use the new age word of awareness.
It's your internal evidence of your own existence.
Right. Exactly. And people, so that's when Richard Dawkins is like, God, why didn't you make yourself more perceivable or more findable? I feel like the answer is I was looking out your eyes the whole time. I was awareness. Like the Old Testament God said to Moses, I am that I am. I am amness. So the amness that looks out your eyes and the amness that looks out my eyes is kind of what we use the metaphor for of God to describe that. Does that make sense?
Okay, so therefore when you can come and go, but that entity you're describing would then manifest in other people who are not dead.
That's right. Does that make sense?
Okay.
We're glasses of water and there's an ocean of awareness, and you and I are momentary refractions of that infinite awareness.
Okay, so that's it harkens back to Carl Sagan's one of his famous quotes. We are a way for the universe to know itself.
Yes, exactly. So we had infinite.
If he's not saying
oneness.
God, he says the universe.
There's a term in a book I was reading about Vedanta. They were like, God just means origin. It's been so misused. The
book
first
about what?
Vedanta, non-dualism. It's just a fancy word for non-dualism.
Non-dualism.
Yeah.
See, I'm not into isms. You see,
You're out on isms.
And I just every time I hear about an ism, it involves we believe this in this doctrine in this book, and that is our ism. And I don't want to be an ism. I want to be ism free in my life.
It's interesting. We were kind of flirting with non-dualism when we were talking earlier about the interconnectivity of the trees breathe off this and we breathe in this. So you get that sense of a harmony that feels like maybe
I
one
would
of the
say that the universe is fundamentally non-dual, but that doesn't mean I should have a word for it. All right. So why should there be a word for something that it isn't? If that's the norm, if that's the native state of things.
I think there's this is out of my pay grade when it comes to non-dualism. There's a reason why they don't call it singularism, because they're just saying what it's not. They're saying it's not two, and there's some caveat. There's a reason why they do that, and I don't know it.
Well, okay, I can tell you this, that I get to this in the 2 chapters of the book, color and race. Yeah, I went there, and gender and identity, where we are lazy in our heads. We take something that would exist on a continuum, on a spectrum, and we will compartmentalize it just so that it's easier for us to think about it. Right? So, for example, you say, are you a boy or are you a girl? Well, I'm feeling a little both today. No, you got to be a boy or you're a girl. Well, you want me to fit into your categories so that you'll be happy? Really? Is that really what's happening here? Today, I feel 90% feminine and 10% masculine. And well, how about your chromosomes? Your X, Y, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you can speak chromosomally. Are you male or female? Holding aside the rare genetic variations on that. Chromosomally, you can be male or female. Fine. In life, are we looking at your chromosomes? Really? Really? Let's think about this. Okay. And I did this experiment in the subway, and I've repeated it elsewhere, but the subway, everyone is seated. All right. The good thing about being seated in this experiment is most of the difference in people's height is in their legs. Men on average are taller than women, but seated, everybody levels out. Okay. And you know this because chairs, the seat in cars moves much more forward and backwards than it does up and down.
That's true. As a 6'6" man. Yeah, that's very true.
Yes, it's to accommodate your legs, but your height, a 6'6" man might be 6 inches taller than a 5'6" woman when he's actually a foot tall, but 6 inches taller seated.
Yes.
If that. The seats around a board table in a boardroom, they can adjust up and down, but rarely is someone really doing that. No one sits down with their nose at the table. I got to crank myself up again. Right. There's variations, just not what you get with height. My point is everyone's about the same height. And I said, can I identify who's male and who's female? And I went down the list, 100% accurate. Okay. Well, all right. Well, who's female? Well, these are the people who have, on average, longer hair. Their jewelry is more visible. There is eyeliner, more likely. There is tweezed between the eyebrows, more likely. There is, and you just go down the list.
Yes.
And then you realize that almost everything I was queuing on is a secondary or tertiary add-on to whatever your chromosomes were that morning. I'm not looking at your chromosomes. I'm observing the beauty industrial complex at work on your face.
Yes.
Okay. And what happens if your breasts are not big enough? You make them bigger. Okay. Americans have 300,000 breast enlargement surgeries every year. Wow. Oh, because you're apparently your chromosomes weren't visible enough. So let's boost that part of it. Wow. Let's put on the makeup. Let's put on the blush or the rouge, whatever it's called. You put on the foundation. You put on. So that's a girl. Oh, and the nails are done up. That's a girl. Who's the boy? Well, the boy might have been a little skinny, so they go to the gym. They get bigger muscles, and they know how to dress because the fashion industry tells you how to dress if you want to be a boy. They tell you what clothes to wear. No, you're not going to wear a dress. The girl's going to wear a dress. Why? Because society says so. The chromosomes don't give a rat's ass whether air blows up between your legs or not. So
you call a skirt what it is. It's just your access to leg air. Yeah.
Okay, leg air. So my point is, it was completely clear who was a boy and who was a girl by secondary and tertiary indicators. So what I'm saying is, if I'm chromosomally a boy and I feel like being a girl today, I have all manner of tactics
that have
to
nothing to
present as a girl.
do. Yes, that have nothing to do.
Unambiguously as a girl.
And isn't that
I discussed this in the gender and identity chapter. The point is, you need me to be a boy or a girl because you have a binary brain. But I'm saying, no, I am fluid here. Deal with it. By the way, I read somewhere, did I read somewhere that the pursuit of happiness was a goal of these new United States? I read that. Some pursuit of happiness. And I want to be half boy, half girl today. Or neither.
Right.
Or neither. All right. Now you won't know. This is Pat all over again from SNL. Now you don't know.
Right.
Now you have anxiety about this, but I don't. I'm comfortable in my own self.
That's what I was going to say. Isn't it fear driven? There are these agreed, it goes back to the trees don't matter as much as the mouse. It's this, I see what you're doing and it's fascinating. I have to get this book. I can't wait to read it. I hope you read the audiobook because the way you do it.
I did read the audiobook. Thank you.
This is just, what a gift you're giving.
I have to say that right, Jordan. Yes, I did read the audiobook.
Yeah. Quiet page turn.
Get your ASMR going here. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, love. Let me ask you one thing because we're coming to close here. I'm so touched that you took this time. I need to tell you what Lee is. So the smear of cosmos behind you sort of looks like a river.
I was just listening. I'm in front of the Carina Nebula of the James Webb Space Telescope, which is a site of intense. It's a stellar nursery where stars are being born at a very high rate, deep within the gas cloud. Stars are made of gas. You would expect to find them born in gas clouds, and indeed they are.
Wow, you went full Neil deGrasse on that.
I went all.
You went Jordan
Cosmos on you
there.
I'm sorry.
I loved it.
Total
are you kidding me? Gives people the chills. You're reintroducing mystery and majesty. What a gift you are. Lee is the study of that looks like a river. Like the back of a turtle looks like certain types of rock patterns that you sometimes see when you're flying over the Earth. Europa looks like the deep art. It's just the appreciation of how a bolt of lightning looks like a branch of a tree, that sort of thing.
Okay, so it's making connectivity.
It's just that.
Yeah. So I think that could be taken to limits that are unjustified. So, for example, people will look at the web of galaxies in the universe because they don't only just cluster, they form filaments. And it's like if you cut a sponge and you looked at where the sponge material is, it wraps around holes. So when we look for galaxies in the universe, what we had historically been calling clusters are just where these filaments intersect as they continue as filaments beyond where they are. Anyhow, so people will look at that and then they'll look at the neuroimagery of the brain and they'll say, this is the same thing. Maybe the universe is a brain.
Right.
So no.
Slippery.
It's not.
Slippery.
It's a completely different thing that happens to look similar.
Right. Somebody mentioned that to me, like the movements of an atom, electrons in an atom does not mirror the movements of planets, for example.
We wanted it to, and that's why it has the same word. You know, people looked in the atom and say, wow, there's a nucleus and stuff that orbits it. It's just like the universe. Maybe it's that all the way down and all the way up.
Yeah.
Right.
Struggles all the way down.
Like the galaxy on the belt of Orion, the cat in Men in Black.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
How it ends as the camera zooms out. So don't make me out pop culture you here.
I think you just did.
And I'm just struggling along trying to keep up with you.
You're doing fantastic.
Culture observers. So what point was I making?
We were talking about Lee being taken too far. Sometimes we can have that ego bias.
Far. And so when we did discover the atom, they said, well, maybe the electrons are like the planets and they have orbits. And they're not orbits, it turns out. But we still retain the root of the word. And so planets surround the nucleus in orbitals. See? So I got a little kiss from the solar system.
See what you're just like a defender of reality. There's such a satisfaction to coming to new conclusions and always growing and expanding on those things. Here's the question I have to ask you. I'd kick myself. Does nothing exist? I have a new joke that I've been doing, talking about how some people think an origin, a force, like an unborn infinite thing that we can call God, erupted into the Big Bang. I know I'm oversimplifying here. And some people think that was spurned by nothing, right? And in the joke, I kind of say, like, it's funny, people say God doesn't exist, but nothing definitely doesn't exist. The fundamental characteristic of nothing is that it doesn't exist. So I'm trying to make the argument that we're all kind of doing our best. Like, we're using words to explain something that's very hard to explain. Does nothing exist?
So it turns out there are levels of nothing. Okay. No, hear me out. Hear me out. You ready?
To tell me everything.
Okay. I don't want to delay your slumber this evening because you're staring hopelessly at the ceiling.
Yes.
Longing for a cookie and a cup of warm milk. So think about, before we fully understood air, if you're sitting across from me, I would say there's nothing between us because I can see you. If there's something here, I wouldn't be able to see you. Oh, well, what are you breathing? Well, there's air. Well, what is air? I don't know. So you can find molecules, and we understood molecules. Now we know there's stuff between us. All right. What happens if you get rid of the molecules? Okay. Then you have a vacuum. Well, how well can you do that? Well, there's interplanetary space, which is as good a vacuum as existed ever anywhere on Earth. But there's still a few molecules, like a molecule every cubic foot. Okay? That's still not nothing. Well, is it nothing between the molecules? Well, let's keep going. Like intergalactic space, that's one molecule per, 100 cubic meters. That's really empty. Okay? But that molecule's still there. They're still doing its thing. All right. Okay. Let's imagine you could remove all molecules. Now what's there? Well, if you put an object there and let go, it would fall towards a source of gravity. The gravitational field was there.
Not nothing.
Not nothing. Nothing is not just whether there's a particle there. Is there a field there? Okay. If there's a field there, what's the field made of? And our best explanation of fields is what's called virtual particles. Okay, that pop in and out of existence, and they don't live long enough to detect them, but they create this sort of energy of the vacuum. Okay. And so that's there. And turns out you can't get rid of that because quantum physics demands that there is no place where there is no energy. Okay. All right. But let's pretend you could get rid of it. Are there still laws of physics that apply there? Maybe a true nothing is not only where there's no matter and no virtual particles and no shape of the fabric of space-time, which is what gravity does to space. Maybe it's a place where there are not even laws of physics themselves. Then how do you even interact with it? All interactions engage some law of physics to enable the interaction in the first place. If you have a place where there's nothing, not even the laws of physics, to me, that's as good a nothing as you'll ever find.
And look, I'm not going to burden you with answering the oldest question we have, but if we had that place, no virtual particles, no waves, no physics, no gravity, can we agree that that's it's a strange guess for the why not universes popping out of other universes? You know what I'm saying? Like,
but we have that. Well,
I know, but
we have that. This is the multiverse. So, right. By the way, there's a version of the multiverse. There's several concepts of the multiverse. In one of them, the laws of physics are slightly different from one to the other. But you can ask, well, what's between those universes? Because they're embedded in a higher dimension. So, would a totally nothing spot also have no dimensionality? If it has dimensions, is that a thing?
Right. That's right.
How would you talk about something that has no objects, no fields, no shape, no laws of physics, and not even dimensions?
I would call it God. That's kind of what I'm saying. Is
Okay, so what you got to watch out. You got to
Yeah.
watch out.
You better watch out.
You got to watch out because I'm just alerting you. You don't want your God to exist and thrive in all places where science has yet to tread.
Right.
Because science continues to progress. And if that's your definition of God, where science has yet to tread, then God is then God to you
Is
is
it
an
ever
ever receding pocket
receding?
of scientific ignorance
Right.
that will one day disappear into
But
existence.
you see, I'm actually not trying to catch science and go like, aha, so now you haven't shined the light over there. I'm going to call that God. I'm just saying, like, if
You
there's
kind of
some,
did. I
should-
explained a nothing that we don't even know how to talk about the nothing. You said, "There's God." I've had people say, "What was around before the Big Bang?" I said, "I don't know. We got top people working on it. Must have been God." I have people that say, "Tell me about dark energy, this mysterious pressure that permeates all of space and forces us to expand." It was in your joke, okay?
Yeah.
If not so explicitly, it was there. And so what is dark energy? I said, I don't know. We got top people working on it. That must be God. There are people who are reaching, groping for God to be every place that science is not. There was a day when we looked up at the night sky, saw planets going back and forth, and we invented words for it like retrograde, because we thought planets actually went backwards. If you're in the center of the universe, that's the only accounting for them, right? So we did all of this, and then did anybody understand it? No, but there was not a problem because it was the sky. That's God. God lives there. You were just mortal brains. There's no way you can understand that. So give it to God and shut up about it. Isaac Newton, we first get the sun back in the middle of the known universe. Then Isaac Newton describes all the planets with his universal law of gravitation. Do you know people came up to him and said, Ike, well, I don't know if they called him Ike. Isaac, you've left nothing for God to do. Damn near accused him of heresy for that.
Right.
And he was a religious guy, by the way.
I did do what you said that I did. I guess the spirit in which I was doing is trying to say the same sideness, meaning both the spiritual and the scientific are trying to understand something that keeps bringing us to places that you can't see, touch, taste, photograph. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
except that okay. Epilepsy was devil inhabiting the body. Very clear sign of the devil in your body. You're writhing on the ground. And back then, all right, when it's the devil in the body, you lived in a town. How far away was the church? Like 3 blocks, in town? Just enough time to go to the church, get the priest, put on the robe, get the holy water, walk to your home, bless the thing, exorcise the devil, and then the symptoms fade away. Just as epilepsy symptoms do, even if the priest didn't show up. Okay? So I'm telling you,
yes,
that was a fully understood phenomenon to the Catholic priests. We have answered that phenomenon. We know what causes it. We can't fully control it, but we know what's going on inside your head. And we can address it. We can tamp it down. So we're still working on it, but we know it's not the devil.
Right.
Okay. So don't say that religious people and scientists are those neck and neck, finding things that are mysterious and then wondering about them. We are finding things that are mysterious and solving them and then moving on. Okay. Let me finish the Newton story. Do you realize Newton invented calculus? All right. This is a smart dude. He invented calculus, and he calculates the moon's orbit around the Earth. Got that. Earth's orbit around the sun. Got that. Jupiter's moons orbiting around Jupiter. Got that. His universal law of gravitation applied here, there, everywhere. Okay. But he could not solve the full solar system story. Because watch, every time we come around the back stretch and Jupiter is out there, we move faster than Jupiter in orbit. So we pass Jupiter every year and a month, or every year and a couple of months. So Jupiter's out, and it has gravity. Every time we come around Jupiter, Jupiter's going to tug on us a little bit. When we're closest to Jupiter, it's going to tug. And Newton knew this. And he said, all the planets, it's not just the sun and the planet in orbit, all the planets are tugging on each other. Holy shit. After enough time, the whole solar system is going to fly apart. But he knew his equations worked for pairs of objects. But he saw that the long-term fate of the solar system was unstable. And you know what he said? He said, well, I know my equations work, and I know the solar system's still here. So he actually says this in his famous book, Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy. It's his lone mention, one of two mentions of God. He says, all right, why doesn't the solar system fly apart? God must step in every now and then to rectify things. Boom. He's done. Doesn't have to explain it any further. 100 years later, 100 years later, Simon Pierre de Laplace, a French mathematician, develops a branch of calculus called perturbation theory. Newton could have done that between breakfast and lunch because he invented calculus to begin with. This is just a branch of calculus that didn't occur to Newton to invent. Okay. What is perturbation theory? It calculates what happens when you have many little tugs when there's one major tug, and you can mathematically solve the problem and show that the solar system is stable because all the little tugs cancel out. Because by the time the Earth comes around the other side, but he's pulling them back that way and back the other way, and it won't cancel. But you can mathematically demonstrate they cancel. Newton couldn't do that. All right. So he writes this in a book called Celestial Mechanics, a huge 5-volume thing.
This is the French guy.
The French guy. Napoleon orders up the volume. Napoleon was very deeply read in physics and mathematics, so he knew not only how to, and engineering, knew not only how to make cannonballs, but where they were going to fall and what they would hit and what damage they would do. This is Napoleon, not only just a little tyrant. The boy knew some engineering and physics, ordered up this book, read it cover to cover, summoned him to his office and said, Monsieur Laplace, this is a brilliant piece of work, but you make no mention of the architect of the system. That's his comment about God, and that's the God reference that Newton was making. But and you know what Laplace replied? Sir, I had no need for that hypothesis. Mic drop in the whatever they would have dropped. Okay.
Maybe a croissant or something.
Croissant drop.
Croissant drop. I mean, that is a badass story.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, even Newton, quote, fell victim to a God of the gaps. He has this book that's just nothing but math and physics in it. Then he gets to something he can't explain, so God fixes it.
Right. What about the idea that the fact that math works in the order and all that, does that lend itself to a language of not order, not human bias, wish fulfilling order, but isn't it, what do you make of like the language of math applying so beautifully and perfectly and so far out? Does that ever give you that
you
spiritual
still want to
encounter?
keep the spiritual thread going here. That's Spinoza's God. Okay. So Spinoza, he was like a Jewish philosopher who was actually excommunicated, one of the very few Jews ever to be kicked out of Judaism. It was a much more of a Christian Catholic thing to excommunicate.
Never heard of that.
Judaism. So he thought about the universe and said, maybe God is not, I'm paraphrasing, of course, some bearded person in the sky. Maybe God is just the laws of physics themselves. And Albert Einstein, when confronted with this similar question, he said, if there is a God I would speak of the universe, then it would, but it was an if statement. If there was a God I would speak of the universe, it would be Spinoza's God, where the laws of physics represent some order to the universe. Right. And that order would be this Spinozian God. But what happens is you get people who are deeply religious, take Christians in this example, who would then say, or even Jews would say, well, if God exists, then this is his holy book, and these are the rules, and this is the part of the penis I should have cut off on the 8th day that I'm born, and here's what you should do. You know, all the rest of these rules is not what Spinoza's God is talking about.
That's right.
Or who you should marry, or what you know.
Yes.
Just look at what's in the Bible that people are obeying as part of the rest of the package. I don't want to call it baggage because that implies some people delight in it. So I'll call it the rest of the package that comes with saying there's a supreme deity.
That's, I mean, this is fascinating. So even the Spinoza, do you lean Spinoza? Any leaning?
I don't.
Are you being tugged orbitally by the Spinoza
I'm just
idea?
curious. If it's something to look at, I'll look at it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that, you know, quantum physics doesn't marry well with general relativity. Quantum physics, the physics of the small, general relativity, the physics of the large, they both work in their realms. But when the universe was small, there's a shotgun wedding between the two, and we still don't know how to put them together. Maybe we're not smart enough. But the universe has a chaos in it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's simple laws of physics, but an asteroid took out the dinosaurs and 60% of all species of life on Earth. To say, oh, the universe is a haven for life and is perfectly designed for life, when if I dropped you butt naked, 70% of Earth's surface will have you dead within 15 minutes. Okay, you'll freeze, you'll get eaten, you'll starve,
You'll drown, yeah.
You'll drown,
Yeah.
So don't tell me this universe is designed for human life.
Do you have a start? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have. I'm too observant of everything that the universe is. For me, it reminds me of the people. There was some tornado in the Midwest, and there's, you know, and the news goes up to the survivors of the tornado, and the person said, "Oh, God saved us today from this," and everyone just accepts that without asking, who sent the tornado?
Right. No,
it'd be easier to save you if there were no tornado in the first place.
You're right in my wheelhouse, even though obviously I'm using I'm a spiritual person. Father Greg Boyle says this thing. He's like, these people send out the emails. They're like, these are the people that didn't go to work on 9/11. God saved them. And he's like, what does that say about the people that didn't go? Like, why aren't we asking that? The kinds of questions you're asking in your book, why aren't we looking at it objectively from a zoomed out place and just look at it? That's why, you know, this isn't going to float your boat necessarily. I believe in a God that protects me from nothing, but sustains me in everything. But you could say that of life, of like a life force. It's not saving me from a tornado, but you know, it's there when I'm low.
Let me be neutral critique of that. Many people feel the same way. They just call it something different.
Yeah. So
if you're comfortable referencing a deity in that context, and that brings you that clarification and that comfort, in a free country, no one is going to take that from you. No one should. I won't.
Right. What brought you to those spiritual encounters with the universe? So much of what you've been saying has been giving me that awe, that beautiful feeling. Has it been in deep in study, looking at new data? What is it that gives you that rapture, that feeling?
The immensity of it all, and how little of it we know. We are so good at knowing what we know that we have quantified what we don't know. So the dark matter I mentioned in dark energy, they're driving this universe right now. And it is 96% of what is driving the universe. The remaining 4% is everything we know and love and learned in biology, chemistry, physics, engineering. Everything that makes this world what it is 4% of the universe. So astrophysicists are inherently humble for that reason. We can't go around with our feet on the desk extolling how that we're masters of our, no, it's like, my gosh. And every day if something new happens, like who ordered that? Let's find that out. All right. Who ordered black holes? Who ordered, you know, the Big Bang? Who ordered we're stumped and delighted every day
Yes.
as astrophysicists, and we glean insights from that to on Earth. Like the molecules of your body are traceable to the crucibles of stars that gave their lives. They manufactured those elements billions of years ago, exploded, scattered that enrichment into gas clouds, out of which the next generation of stars and planets was formed, including the sun and Earth. So you are not simply alive in this universe. The connectivity of your molecules to stars means the universe is alive within you.
Hmm.
And that borders on the spiritual. And I think it's one of the most profound discoveries gifted to civilization by modern astrophysics.
That fucking standing ovation. A croissant drop. That was a croissant drop. So beautiful. But it goes back to that Carl Sagan. We are the eyes of the universe, looking at ourselves, experiencing ourselves, carrying all of it with us.
There's a little bit of ego in that, because it assumes that we are smart enough to actually know everything worth knowing about the universe. Right? To say we are a way for the universe to know itself. Well, suppose there's a billion times deeper knowledge about the universe that our primate brain cannot comprehend.
Right.
Then that statement is hilarious.
I agree.
Any smarter species that's out there.
That's what they just came out with, that idea that what our eyes are showing us, there's like a zero. They said it was like a very close to zero chance that what we're seeing is reality, because it would be filtering out so much stuff that we're not
Who
even
said that?
close. God, I knew you were going to ask me that.
Yeah, no, that's bullshit. No.
You really?
So no, our senses do work. They give us some fraction of objective reality that's in front of us, often filtered through our biases, granted.
Yeah.
But if I touch a round object, I'm going to say it's round. You're going to touch it. You're not going to say, no, this is a cube. We can agree on things that our senses can identify.
Right.
But science did not mature until it went beyond our senses, until it realized, no, you don't see everything. You only see what we call visible light. But there's ultraviolet and X-rays and gamma rays and radio waves and all of that is also light, and you can't see it. But I have a chart recorder that can. There are other things like the polarization of light, this light spectra, gravitational and magnetic fields, electromagnetic fields. All of this science can detect about the natural world and establish objective truths. We are no longer dependent on human senses. And because when we were, it is rife with bias.
As we've seen in this conversation coming from me, I mean, many, many times. One last, I have to ask you.
This is the third time you said you had one last question.
Is that true?
Yes.
That
No,
can't
second
be.
time. Second time.
Okay, second time. The nothing one. These are the two questions I was like, I gotta ask, and then you're absolutely out of here. Have you heard the idea, the I guess you'd call it a hypothesis, that reality is a shared hallucination? Is that was a TED talk that got a lot of traction?
There are philosophers that like going there.
Yeah.
And it depends on what you mean by that, because the methods and tools of science are exquisitely tuned to establish an objective reality. So the objective reality leads to a quote. I've been quoted on this. It's on a bumper sticker even. The good thing about science is that it's true whether or not you believe in it. So a shared, what's the term you use?
Hallucination.
The hallucination would not necessarily be the same hallucination for every person. We all have very different brain wirings. We grew up in different places. We have different awarenesses. So to now say, with all the different awarenesses and imaginations and biases that we all have, somehow we all agree on a hallucinated reality. I don't see evidence of that.
Yeah.
I can say that we can all eat different hallucinogens, but if we apply the same apparatus to a thing in front of us, and the apparatus identifies the same elements and features, like a mass spectrometer, for example, then it didn't matter
that you were tripping.
Just didn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm just not, people like, I mean, it's fun to talk about and think about, and I'll let them continue to do it. But the rest of us are actually discovering objective reality out here. Well, they're
You're
arguing
just-
about whether or not it's real.
right. Yeah, no, I am. I'll concede. I'm
And by the
one of
way,
those people.
Einstein discovers E equals MC squared. We weaponize uranium and plutonium, build 2 bombs, drop it over Nagasaki and Hiroshima in a war, killing at 40,000 people. And you're going to say, well, this is a shared hallucination?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. What a strange,
Really?
what a strange choice.
Right.
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 Yeah.
I'm not going there.
I
not
hear
going
that.
there.
I hear that. Do you see a Star Trekky future where we find world peace and food synthesizers and we go out there? Do you think human beings
I
are
see
capable?
one path of lesser conflict, and that is the universe basically has unlimited natural resources, unlike Earth, which has limited natural resources. So if we turn the solar system into our backyard, then it in principle could remove an entire category of armed conflict from the future history of civilization,
Which is
That would
resources.
be war over access to limited resources.
Yeah. Wow.
We might still
Okay.
fight over what gods you worship.
Yeah.
We might still fight over what, how reflective your skin is to sunlight. You
Right.
might still fight over what side of a line in the sand you're born on, or what gods you worship, gods you worship or don't worship.
Yeah.
Might still fight over that.
We talk about that. If
But it
white
won't be
supremacy.
where's the well with water or
Right.
or
We talk
natural-
about that all the time. If take white supremacy to its natural conclusion, give them what they want. It's only white people. How long before they're finding more lines in the sand to be like, well, you are left-handed or you
Well,
have.
they've already done that.
Yeah,
What do you,
exactly.
what do you think? What what do you think the Protestants
Yes.
and Catholics killing each other
Yes.
in Ireland was?
Right.
These are 2 white people,
Yes.
the same shades of white people
Yes.
in the same religion. Okay,
yes.
but sects of a same. They're both Christians killing each other for how? What? Like what the fuck? Really? After I saw that, I said they'll kill black people for no reason. They'll kill other white people for that reason. Also, Europe was basically white people killing white people.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with black or brown people, or
Right.
gay people, or
Right.
some were loaded up in the paddy in the concentration camps. But the organized battle between
Yeah.
France and Italy and Germany and England, okay.
Yeah.
White people, and throw in some Japanese, but that was entirely in the Pacific theater, right?
Yeah.
There are no Japanese people fighting in Europe, okay?
Right.
So yeah, white people are really good at killing people for any fucking reason.
That's
I'm sorry for I'm getting like you and Sam Kinison. I was calm and peaceful at the beginning of this conversation. What
we
the hell?
have video proof of that. We have
You
video
do.
proof of that.
Thank you.
We're done with my questions. You've been so generous. I'll never forget this conversation. You're a delight and a gift. And I'm so happy I got to talk with you, and I hope to see you in person one day. This is the last question that everybody gets. So if I didn't ask you, they'd go, why didn't Neil get the question? Can you tell me a time in your life when you laughed so hard you hurt, you tears streaming down your face, your belly ached, maybe you were a kid, maybe somebody fell, maybe somebody farted? That's often what the answer is.
I would say one of the hardest times I laughed was in the final scene of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. And I saw that. I'm old enough to have seen it in a theater in real time. They re-released it for its like 50th anniversary or 60th, but I saw it when it first came out in the 1960s.
Wow.
And Ethel Merman is in it, who's just screaming at everyone the entire movie. She's got her Ethel Merman voice, and she's just annoying to everybody. But she's not mean. She just wants what's best for, but still, you were done listening to her. Okay. At the end of the movie, all the main characters, it was a big caper. It's a caper. You don't remember the movie. It was a caper, the chase scenes. everybody in the movie ended up in the hospital on some kind of gurney. These all the men, okay, who were chasing this treasure that was buried in this park in California, okay, that was hidden by a criminal who stole the money from a bank. And it's a long story. It's not even worth retelling, other than this last scene. Okay, they're all there up back. I don't know if they still do this. Everyone is in a full cast up to their neck with legs, and there's a whole room of them. Okay, and they go, oh, I'm hurt. I can't. Oh. And then Ethel Merman and her crew comes in and starts yelling at them, saying, "Why did you do this?" And blah, blah, blah. And one of the guys had finished eating a banana and just tossed the banana peel. And you're not even paying attention. He did it, but you're not noticing it. She steps on the banana peel, completely upends, lands on her ass. And all these moaning men just start laughing. And they, whatever pain they were in didn't matter anymore, because they were just all the casts were just jiggling up and down. And I was 8 or something, and I laughed so hard because we were done with her, and that's how they took her out. And that was just.
And when comedy transcends pain, it's one of the greatest things
that
in
was
the
it.
world. That's it.
That was it.
That's it.
They were all just they were in pain, and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Because she had it coming. That's all.
That's
and
the best.
No one intentionally hurt her, right? Because that would not be right.
No.
Well,
look, I'm not even trying to force this. The science of matter, like when Abbott and Costello are moving a piano up the stairs, everyone can get on board because we all know that thing's heavier than they are. It's like comedy for everyone. Physics is comedy for everyone.
Right. It's just simple physics at that point. Yeah.
That's right. And a banana is slippery, and she falls down because of gravity.
Yeah.
Neil, thank you so much for taking this time. What a treat you are. We have the guests say the catchphrase at the end. It's just how we say goodbye. It's going to be fun for me to hear it if you're going to say it. It's just keep it crispy. Would you grace us with a keep it crispy?
This is Neil deGrasse Tyson, your personal astrophysicist. And in life and in the universe, it is always best to keep it crispy. Okay.
What a thrill. Thank
right?
you so much. You were on fire.
Wait. Let me add a sentence.
Go ahead.
You know deep down that's true. You reach for the crispy French fry, not the soggy one. You reach for the crispy potato chip, not the one that's been out in the humidity at the picnic. Crispy wins every time. You know
every
this.
time.
You know this. Neil deGrasse Tyson signing out.
Yes.